when you cancel it. That's not to say that you should always cancel buildings the instant that they start getting attacked by an opponent if you know they're going to die. Sometimes, like in Happy's case here, he really needed to buy time for himself. And that's why he was waiting until like the last possible second to cancel those slaughterhouses. But just be aware of that fact. If you don't really need to buy time and force your opponent to sit there whacking on the building, go ahead and cancel it right away because you'll get more money back. Happy just saw XyLigan's expansion. It had 3 towers up at it. Surely you guys have tried throwing, this kind of army, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 ghouls plus a couple of heroes at 3 human towers and gotten really mad when you just got annihilated. Well, that's what's going to happen. So, unless you, unless you have some way of killing the expansion, don't try. So what Happy did there is that after he couldn't get the expansion, he went and checked on XyLigan's main. This is kind of just a matter of keeping the human player honest. You really don't want to let them get an expansion up without having to tower both their expansion and their main base, because otherwise they'll have a ridiculous amount of gold. So basically, it's a good idea to, at the very least, if a human player has gotten an expansion up on you, make sure he's towered up his main base as well, because if he hasn't, you should be able to run in with your ghouls and do like kind of a peon raid sort of thing. Don't let yourself get killed. Once his army comes back, you're probably going to have to TP out of there or something, but or just run if you have the opportunity. But just keep him honest like that. Make sure that he spends the money to build the towers both at his main and his expansion, and don't leave him alone until he does that. Once he's got a base up, if you can't take it down anytime soon, counter expanding is pretty much always a good idea, and I believe Happy's going to do that. In fact, yeah, he's doing it right now. Here's the deal. If you look at, his gold, he's got, 260 gold left. He's approaching 50 supply. He's not going to be able to mass up enough destroyers in the really short term to go take down Happy's expansion, which is generally, if you fast tech to tier 3 and your opponent got like a tier 2 expansion, that's one of the things that you're hoping on, is that when the destroyers come out, that you may very well be able to flat out kill his expansion or cost him a lot of peons and maybe most of his army keeping it alive. When that isn't panning out, you are going to have to counter expand. I take that back, actually. I think either it got canceled or he decided not to start up a counter expansion at this time. I apologize for that. I wasn't paying attention. XyLigan's gotten this is the second time XyLigan's gotten a surround on the Mountain King. And that's really the sort of thing that you have to do to win against human, especially if you've had a not so great early game, which is Happy's case in this point. He really didn't do all that well. He didn't even realize his opponent was expanding. Like I said, that's not fatal, but it's certainly bad, because it's a lot better if you can harass somebody while they're trying to expand. So at any rate, yeah, he didn't have that great of an early game. One of the ways that you can make up for it is by hunting him down and killing his Mountain King. Basically, if you don't let the Mountain King creep to a high level, your heroes will continue to level while he won't, because he keeps getting killed, and that means that you're going to keep being able to nuke him. At least until he gets a paladin out. But even then, sometimes you can do things like sleep the paladin, or nuke the paladin, then nuke the Mountain King, that kind of thing. But general gist of it is that you want to keep the human hero levels low. One of the reasons it hasn't been that hard for Happy to keep the hero levels low is that XyLigan was choosing to play very aggressively. He kept pushing Happy's base as opposed to going out and creeping, and he was doing that for a very good reason. to keep Happy from finding his expansion. However, you have to be aware that for a human player that doesn't push you like that, he's going to be out creeping like crazy. So when somebody is pushing you, at least you can be comforted in the fact that he's not going to be leveling up his damn Mountain King very fast. Because I'd say of all the heroes to go against, I wouldn't say the MK is my least favorite, but he's definitely very annoying. So basically, if your opponent leaves you alone, if your human opponent leaves you alone in early tier 2, you've got to go out and find him. That's basically your responsibility. Because if you don't, he's going to creep the hell, and he's going to also... He's probably going to expand, and you're not going to know about it. Anyway, I need to talk about the damn game that's actually happening right now, not what happened 5 or 10 minutes ago. One of the things, I'm not sure if Happy did it yet, but anytime you're recovering mana, it's a good idea to drop any items like Pendants of Mana or Robe of the Magi that increase your mana pool, because when you pick them back up, it kind of scales back like the amount of mana that you had. Like, for example, if you had 80% of your mana left, when you pick up a magical or an item that increases your total mana pool, it will basically bring you back to that same percentage. So you'll gain mana by doing that. At some point in this game, one of these guys did that by the fountain. It was really nice, and I don't know if that's actually happened yet. I'll try and point it out to you if it does. That was a nice little surround on the Paladin by Happy. Once again, when you're going ghouls, which you usually will be doing against human, that's really a great thing to pull anytime you get the chance. So be aware of it. The human heroes, especially, they're going up against your Death Knight that has the speed aura and things. They're not that fast, so it's quite common to be able to get a surround off on them. Now, Happy saw two workshops there, and he's not going to do it yet, but one of the things that you should always consider when you see the workshop is to go for a Panda 3rd, or even sometimes 2nd. Usually you don't know early enough to build a Panda 2nd, but Panda is one of the few heroes that is actually like... that actually does anything to kind of counter the workshop units, because his Breath of Fire ability can hit mechanical stuff. For gyrocopters, which only have 200 hit points, an area of effect spell that hits them is just what the doctor ordered. So I know I'm spoiling a little bit here, but you will be seeing a Panda appearing a little bit later in the game, because as you can see, the game is only 1/2 of the way over. Let's see. What is XyLigan at this point? Is not doing that much to scout. He knows, I think, from his opponent's fairly low hero levels that he hasn't been out like creeping any other expansions. In fact, I think the only one that is actually clear at this point. Actually, yeah, if you look at the creeps on the map, there aren't any that have been cleared yet. So that's one of the things that you can be a little bit comforted in, is that if your human opponent is playing like pretty aggressively and you've seen his heroes staying at fairly low levels, he may have one